podcast. Oh, but wait, there's more. Then it converts to audio podcast. Yes, it does. And it is on your favorite iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever you listen on. You can listen while you drive or while you work, whatever you do. And that is a super amazing, amazing part of it. You know what? This whole package we put together and we produce for people too. So if you're ever interested in getting my coaching for more than just marketing, let's say you want coaching on live streaming, I do that. Also help you put together the package and produce live streaming. But wait, there's more. Also can help you monetize your live stream because we've done that here since the very beginning. Love to do that. Number one, if you're ever interested in being a sponsor and getting an amazing amount of value for what you pay, which is a small amount to be a sponsor, please contact me. But if you want to know also how to do that for yourself, glad to help you out with that. So, have a new show coming up. I got to tell you about it. I'm super excited because, I already live stream 5 times a week. Some people think I'm crazy. Probably am a little bit, but I love it. And I've also produced one during the week, but on top of that, we're starting a sixth. So Scott and I do the Experience Live with Russ and Scott that I was talking about from Wednesdays at 7 a.m. yesterday. We are starting a new one called the Experience Local. This one is even more amazing because it focuses on our local area. And what we're going to do is really encourage you in the live stream portion, which is 9 a.m. every Monday. It's 9 a.m. Pacific. It will live stream. We're going to encourage you to engage with us and think about how you can engage more with your local community. And we're going to be talking to believers in business. Scott and I are both men of great faith. We're going to talk about how faith interacts with business and with family and all of that. It's going to be a really amazing dynamic. But I tell you, our local area has already blown up. We've got guests for a few months. There's a waiting list for sponsors. It has just been a great, great experience. And all the stuff I told you about, all that amazing value from live stream to video podcast to audio podcast we're going to add to that. And it's also on local radio. So I know a lot of my friends that are doing radio and doing way more than I'm doing, but I'm really excited about this because we're going to be broadcasting this local show on local radio too. So it's going to be super great and a lot of fun. So again, this is Marketing with Russ, and we are all about how amazing people connect. And, Christine is absolutely one of those amazing people. You're going to find that out. If you didn't watch yesterday's show, you will quickly see that. I was pretty captivated with all she was telling me the first time we chatted. And so she is an amazing person. But you know what? We've had tons of amazing people on this show. I am blessed with great friends, and we're going to talk more about how you see them. But I want you to connect with me because we're all about connection, community building, because I believe that's the foundation of any good marketing plan, any good business. If you want to know what I'm about in a nutshell, I want to know what's your why or purpose in life so that you have a direction you're heading. Then I want to help you connect and build community so that you have people in your community to work with and do life with. That is what I'm all about in a nutshell. So go to russhedge.com today. You can connect with me any way you like. Social media, you can connect with me on my email. You can call me on my phone or text me. You can even schedule time directly on my calendar to Zoom with me. I'd love to do that. Christine and I have done that a few times. I've done that with so many amazing people. In fact, last 2 years, my goal was to connect with 1,000 new people. And I just knocked that out of the park the last 2 years and doing it again this year. My goal is to connect with 1,000 new people. And I want you to be one of them. So please connect with me today. Also, all those amazing people I talked about, we are going on coming in March, 400 episodes of just Marketing with Russ. That is a lot of amazing people. So 400 episodes of that on my YouTube page, where you just go to marketingwithruss.live and it'll take you right to it. You can click and subscribe. It gives you quick access to all of those people. No more binging Netflix, no more binging Prime. You can binge Marketing with Russ. There you go. And I also have my other live streams on there, so there's even more value with that. So do that today. We're trying to grow that. It's building, it's growing. The community is getting better. Also, share this out today, will you? Tag your friends, share it. And you know what? Doesn't matter whether you're watching live or on replay, you can still do it. You can still share it. You can still tag your friends. You know what? There's great value that's going to sit there. And if you missed it, or let's say you jump in and you think, wow, this is amazing, but I have to go. I have an appointment. Come back later, listen, share, listen to it on your favorite podcast platform, whatever you want to do. And so I am ready for today's show. I am so excited to get started with things. But I first want to tell you something hugely important, and that is the marketing tip of the day. So we are going to do this here for all of you. By the way, this gets broken out. And it is separated and posted on all social media as well. So you can get just the marketing tips of the day if you want. They're all lined up on my YouTube page as well. So that's a great thing, but let's do it. So this is your marketing tip of the day. Seek collaboration. Seek collaboration. You don't have all the knowledge and all of the wisdom yourself. We are better together. Seek to collaborate and work with other people. I was just talking to Christine about that and some other great people about collaborating on a project. Seek and collaborate. I've done now four collaborative books in the last 6 months. I've written a chapter, and other amazing people have written chapters, international best-selling books. I've been able to do that because I collaborated with people smarter than me, better than me. And you know what? It doesn't matter what you're doing. You don't know everything. We need each other. We are better together. So today, seek collaboration. You know what? It will make your life better. It'll make your business better. It will put joy in your heart because of the amazing people you're able to work with. And that is your marketing tip of the day. All right, we did it. There we go. So we're going to get Christine in the room. She's sitting there patiently thinking, am I ever going to get into this room? Here she comes.
I am not. I'm thinking I love that tip.
Well, thank you. You know what? I love the fact that I really kind of go grassroots on my tips. People, there's so much technical things within marketing that you can get into, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with learning and about all that. But I think people jump over a lot of the basic things in life and a lot of the basic principles. And I think when you're grounded and you have a foundation in the basic things of life, everything else is much easier, right?
100%.
Yeah, you're so great. That's why I have you on, because you're just making me look good. Okay, so Christine, why don't we start from the beginning? For those that didn't see yesterday, tell everybody, who is Christine and what are you all about?
Thank you. So I am a business mentor, and I help business owners figure out how to create impact and how to do that in a really positive way so that we're showing up as human, seeing successes, and empowering others. And I particularly believe that business is elegantly simple. So you and I share that philosophy. I focus with my clients on the business foundations that every business needs in order to create the big ripples. And often we get into business, we haphazardly dodge these foundations. And yet, if we really started to create momentum, we have the wheels go off the bus. And I said, strategy is key. The 3 non-negotiables will help be your thinking framework so you can iterate and live and create an abundant business that you love. Because truthfully, I really believe small business is so important for our communities. So many changes are going on in the world, and we need more businesses to be succeeding because we create future leaders, we change our family dynamics, we change the economy locally, and truthfully, we are stronger together. So I have a real passion for helping more of us get there.
Oh my goodness. And see, that's what I love about you, because first of all, you are really starting from the basics and keeping things simple and going with what's really important. But you also, you're thinking strategically and how you can move people in the right direction. And a lot of times people miss those kind of things. And I think, what's really important, I think, and you can comment on this and tell me if you think this is true. And that is, we all need to have a purpose and then goals we want to achieve, and then a strategy to get there, and then measurements of how are we really achieving what we want to achieve. But within all that, we just got to get started and take action. When you've got good ideas that fit within your wheelhouse, that fit within your strategic plan, that fit within what you're doing and you're all about, if you're staying in your lane and doing, you're not getting way off track of your purpose and all of that, you need to jump on and do it. And it's just like what you and I were talking about. I've got this great idea of bringing people together, and it's going to come together and it's going to happen. And I've just decided this is exactly in line with everything I do, with my purpose, my why, my strategy, all that I'm about. And so I'm just going to do it. I'm going to quit thinking about it. I'm just going to put it together and do it. That's what it takes, is just the action, right?
100%. Because I think we often get caught up into, we need to know the how. And how is, I often say, the laziest question to ask. It is the most natural, but it honestly isn't the question you should be asking, because you and I are both of faith people. And I said, the how is not up to us, actually. So stop focusing on the how, because what you need to do is make the decision. And that's where strategy comes into play, because strategy is the framework to make decisions, to guide you in the path that you want to pursue. And that's where I think a lot of businesses get stuck, because we immediately go into tactics, and that's a how strategy. And I said, every how will get you there.
Well, and what is amazing about that, and welcome Jeff, one of our sponsors this morning, and an amazing guy and coach and leadership leader. He is great. But I wanted to say that with all of that, how a lot of times, you know what? You don't have to know how to do everything. I love the quote that says, you don't need to see the whole staircase, just the next step, right? I think that's a Martin Luther King quote, actually. And the point of that too is, what is your next step? I don't know how to format the book that I want to write, but I know somebody that formats books. I don't know how to edit it all the way it needs to be in form, put it in the right form to put up and publish, but I know somebody that does that. You can bring people together, and that goes to my marketing tip of the day, everybody. Collaborate with people that can help you accomplish what you want to accomplish, because when you get held up, like Christine's saying, and the how do you do it, you're never going to know how to do everything. You're not. I'm sorry. No matter how brainy you are, you're going to always need somebody to help you. And I think that's the key, is really just being strategic too about who you're collaborating with.
Yeah. And when people are on their pathway to creating business, I said, if you need to know the how, let me tell you. I focus on 3 non-negotiables. There are actually 5 pillars of business. Every business under the planet needs these. So this is the how. Really short Cole's Notes version. You have to do the first 3, because 4 and 5 can't be achieved if you don't have the first 3. So I always focus there first, because we need to get into movement, because that builds momentum. Like, you need to know who your buyer is, the next buyer. You need to be able to move somebody from curiosity to paid client. And you need to create value in the marketplace. Those are the 3 things. You are the how is answered. And from there, because there's people in the audience who are like, well, I want to know what 4 and 5 are. You need to be able to influence. That's both yourself and others. And you need, remember, if this goal is business, you need to create profit. And that is as equally true if you are a for-profit business and a not-for-profit business. And I think there's often a misnomer. I want not-for-profits to make a ton of profits, because they will put back into the community. They will use the money effectively. And so our still goal line is value creation. So if you need the how, now you need to then say, okay, I know the how, make a decision and take one step. One of the most powerful things I heard yesterday, you will appreciate this. I was in a mastermind, and we were talking about the feeling of being overwhelmed by the staircase, overwhelmed by the things that we had on our task and to-do list. And the comment that was made is, you only have one thing on your list. You may have lots of lists, but you have one thing on your list. What's the next one thing? And if you do that, suddenly all of the stress that you're feeling goes, you're right. I only have one thing to do, and the rest of it is being held by somebody else, and it's not me. So have faith and focus on the one thing in front of you.
Yeah. That's interesting. There's a great book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. Have you read that?
Yes, I love it. I read it, remind myself, because sometimes we can spin up and spin down. And so I said, I read it regularly to remind myself, what's the one thing that matters?
Yeah. And, it's interesting. For those people that don't know, Gary Keller is the founder of Keller Williams Realty. And he is got an amazing mind, because most people would say, and I said this when I had a friend that helped me go through this book, and he was one of my coaches. He's just really coaching me through it. And he's telling me, you can boil things down to one thing. And I immediately tell him, there's no way. I have too many things. There's no way I can boil it down to one thing. And he's like, no, you can. Now, sometimes you might have a personal one thing, and you might have a business one thing. You might be broken out into different things. I mean, I personally think everything goes back to my personal one thing, which is to glorify God in all that I do. And then on top of that is to inspire and encourage people, which is my purpose or why in life. And through that, if I can do those things, I am already moving in the right direction. And then I jump into the things because there's so many strategic things. Like you said, people are, I love the part where you were talking about jumping from curiosity into paid customers, right? So many people struggle with that. And I understand that. I mean, people say, wow, there's so many people that ask me questions and want to talk, and it's amazing, but none of them want to pay me. So why is
Mhm.
that? Well, you need to talk to Christine, obviously, and then you can find out why. So,
Well, and I think when people feel that, it's because two things have happened. You've become the likable expert, where you think your role is education. And I tell people you're caught in the slow lane, the someday client lane, which is awesome. And if you have a really long runway and great faith, you will get there. But if you actually have a more immediate desire and need to create the result today, then you need to be positioning yourself as the must hire. And it's by answering this, I said this yesterday, it's a very simple question. I feel like a toddler. I say it to myself in the toddler voice in my own head, which is if I'm making a statement, the question I'm asking is, so what? Is it true? Because when you're educating and you're in the someday client, you're like, I'm being this fount of knowledge. And remember that knowledge is the most abundant thing on the planet in today's digital age. So you will not be paid for knowledge unless you are exceptional. And you are, but let's also set the expectation of when do you see momentum there? It's quite a long path. Instead, I said, share the knowledge, but share your lens and tell me, so what? And what will that impact be? And walk me through the movement, because that's how you take people on a journey. And I think when we talk moving somebody from paid, curiosity to paid client, the more predictably you can do this, I call it a client growth engine. That's what clients come to work with me for. How do I create a client growth engine? And how do I embody and communicate that I'm the must hire? When we do that, we've not just gone straight into pick SEO, pick Google ads, pick speaking, pick network. I said those are tactics. At the core, who are you? What do you stand for? That's what you say is purpose, is a fundamental question. Then how do we show up? What lane do we want to play in? And who are we wanting to call? And who are we wanting to guide? And when we start to just ask those very big questions, it is very simple. It is not effortless, and it does require thinking partners and communities to help us distill this, to ask the simple question, that sounds good. Is it true? Because the moment it's true, ripples happen. And
yeah,
that's when you stand out from the sea of crowd of marketplace and other people. It's also where you feel in alignment and it feels effortless because you're not carrying the heaven burden. You're very clear. I am a vehicle to help be the conduit to result. And when you do that, you're also really clear, where do you start and what's the next thing?
right. So this is what I love about you, what you said, going all the way back to the beginning, because you so many mic drops, so much content that was amazing there that I can't even remember it all. But it was the that you have value, you are amazing, you are remarkable. My good friend and co-host D. Scott Smith always says we always have the most remarkable people, which is true. I love that statement because you, Christine, are remarkable. You, Scott, and Michael, and the people that are joining in are remarkable. And by the way, I just wanted housekeeping note. For some reason, all the comments that you are making on LinkedIn are not showing up on my, so I can't put them up on the screen. But I just want to tell you all, you're all appreciated. Please keep commenting. Please keep engaging. Sometimes when people don't see comments on the screen, they think, oh, they don't have mine. They don't care. No, I'm getting them on LinkedIn, but not this way. So I wanted to let you know that. But I think people undervalue themselves. And from the very beginning, I think what you were saying at the beginning of that is people have so much value, but they've got to believe that. They've got to believe in themselves in order to move into the next steps, because you're not going to go anywhere if you don't believe you are remarkable and that you have value from other people. That's where the imposter syndrome and the limiting beliefs and all that comes in, where we're saying to ourselves, who would want to hear what I have to say?
Mm.
Who cares about all this? Well, guess what? You really have amazing content. God created you with amazing abilities, and you just have to find the people This is where you move from curiosity to paying clients. Find the people that align with you and that you were created for. Because I don't know if you believe this, Christine, but I truly believe what makes each one of us unique and sets us apart from the rest of the crowd and all the people doing what we do is us.
Yes.
It's we are the difference maker, right?
100%. And I think when you go through the process of saying there's a whisper, and that's what I always tell my clients, my job is not to light your fire. My job is to add oxygen to it. And when you recognize that I feel called, I feel compelled, I feel like I have a role to play, then simply say, I hear the whisper. And I always tell my clients, many of them come to me and say, you must whisper to me first before we can roar it in a way that pulls big momentum in the world into big positive change. And it's simply saying, I'm open to exploring and having somebody see my value. And know that you are not for everyone, nor were you destined and intended to be. I spend a
Right.
lot of time with clients working on the buyer piece because a lot of people have given really bad marketing advice. It's talk about the pain, leave the pain, analyze the pain. And I don't buy into that. Just as a marketer, I don't buy into it because it doesn't lead to movement. And our goal is marketers and our goal is people who are building vehicles of business is to move people. And we want to do so recognizing that we have to be seen. We have to recognize where is the buyer at. And when we're talking about that, you need to know that they don't want perfection. What they want is another human who sees them. And when you
Right.
can connect to somebody in a dark place and you bring light into it, it is a very beautiful execution of what we're here for under God, right? It's important to recognize that. And it is true. You are so correct. We do not see our own value. And that's why it's important to work in community, to have mentors, to be open for feedback. And that feedback is simply to be a reflection of what we see because we have been almost from a society perspective, truthfully, we start whole and then we get chipped away. And when we want to stand in light, we have to rebuild and we have to have faith and we have to listen and we have to say, I surrender the how.
Right. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Blowing my mind. So much good within that. And I think that surrendering and realizing where we are. My you talked about people valuing and making an impact and really being great. And we're not, like you said, we're not for everybody. That can be tough on people like me because I'm the kind of person who wants everybody to like me. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, and who doesn't like Russ, right? Well, the sad thing is there are some people that don't like Russ. I mean, it's just a sad reality. As I grew and got older, I realized, you know what? Their loss. It's okay because I know who I am. I know what I'm doing, and if I feel like I am doing what God created me to do, maybe some other people don't agree with that, but that's okay because I feel confident in where I am. And I think when we have that strong foundation and feel confident, then we can move forward and realize that we have great value and that, yes, we're not for everybody, but we are for somebody and some people out there that are looking exactly what we have. And the perfection part. Okay. I love this because the absolute best live streams are when you completely mess up and everybody loves it because they say, you know what? They're not perfect.
Yeah.
They make mistakes like everybody else. Scott and I fumbled through trying to figure it out because how we learned was just doing it.
Yeah.
We just
Lived
jumped on and started.
experience is everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
exactly. Yeah, that's just it. I mean, we just jumped on just doing it. So I love that. And they're looking for real, authentic people because that's who people can relate to, right?
For sure. And one of the regular conversations I've actually had this week in my business is with people saying, I know you want to set the standard here, and you are responsible for setting the standard as the business owner. And I want you to tell you that don't make the gap so far that you become an icon on a pedestal for your next client. What's really important is you show them the evolution and you let people evolve. And I know this is hard. I know when I did my very first podcast episode on my own show, I still to this day want to take it down. But I don't because I want people to see the difference between episode 1, episode 20, episode 80. And I need them to see that I'm moving because truthfully, if you want to work with me, you're going to want somebody in momentum because we're opening doors you don't even know yet you want to walk through. And it is always about energy. And I say to clients, I know you don't want to release something until it's perfect. I'm telling you what is the basic that needs to go now to get feedback to enhance that standard by the time we get all the way across the line. And
Right.
I do this all the time in my business. I'm running an event. It's in May. I created, a call for speakers. I put out the call, and I had some typos in it. I mean, gosh, guys, I write my own stuff, and you will find typos in it. Welcome to the world of Christine. And then I went to my community and said, I'd love some feedback. They gave me feedback, said it's a little cluttered. I'm a little confused about the call to action. I went back, iterated it again, but I was still inviting feedback, and I was still putting it public. And I think we're in a much better place now, but I condensed significantly the learning curve by the lived experience and being open to, this is me with the vision, and this is the vision. I want you to hear the vision, not get caught in the weeds.
Yeah. And see, I love that too, because I am a huge proponent. One of my favorite sayings is good and done is better than perfect and not done.
Yes.
Because people need to realize, I got to the point with my first book that I had my entire family edit it. I had a professional editor edit it. And I was still finding little things. I mean, not so much typos, although I'm sure there's one in there, but I was still finding little things that I would write differently. And I thought I could rewrite and redo this forever.
Yes.
It's good and it's done, and I'm publishing it. And you know what? It ended up being an amazing tool and a great thing, because I was willing just to move forward with it. Same thing with videos. The first time I did a video, somebody said, I should take that down and do this differently. And I said, no, I'm not going to. I said, because this is how I'm learning, and I want people to see the real me. I mean, if I made a mistake or I did something, that's good. I'm going to do better next time. And that's what I've always felt with live streaming or any of that stuff. I just work to be better every time. I just look at, instead of beating myself up about things I did wrong, I focus on what I did good. And I think, okay, I could do these things better. It's a whole mindset and perspective on yourself, as opposed to most people are the worst self-evaluators.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I look stupid. I sounded stupid. I was an idiot. And what does that tell yourself? You are talking to yourself, beating yourself down, instead of, hey, you know what? I did it. I got out there. There's some things I did really good. There's all kinds of things you can frame so much better. And I think that with things, you're just what you're saying. We need to move forward and make things happen and realize that we're not going to be perfect ever. There's one perfect person, and that's Jesus. And there's nobody else. So there we go. We're going to move on from that one. And we just have to live with our imperfections and learn how to be better.
Well, we need the strength of the experience to be better. And,
Yes.
I always have this philosophy. I've had this philosophy when I've led teams. I've had this philosophy within my own businesses. And it's, we're all okay to fall apart. We're human. Okay. What we ask is that we don't all fall apart at the same time, because we want to keep the movement continuing. And that means that some days, yes, you know what, things do not go your way, something blows up, and you can retreat from the field for the day, but I want you to be 100% sure that your fire is still lit. You show up tomorrow. And when you're in a fire, what's really great about having community and having other people with more experience is, okay, this is what happened. Let's get into decision-making, problem solving, and learning from this versus the risk we take, which is repeating and repeating and repeating. And, truthfully, when we see patterns repeat, we also know as business owners that that's actually where our business is built. I say, we had the slow lane where people were, the someday client, and I'm the likable expert. I said the middle lane where you build your business is where people have a repeating problem. And your goal is not to judge the problem, not to criticize the problem, not to think that you're better than them because you've solved it and they haven't. It is to bump into the problem and say, do you know that looks like a repeating pattern?
Right.
Are you curious to know that that might not be the only option? And that's it. Like, that's what marketing is in a very simple nutshell. Bump into the problem, disrupt the pattern, and cast curiosity that there is, in fact, an alternate reality. And from there, of course, you guide what that could look like, and you separate buyers from non-buyers in the journey you take them through, which is your strategy. But it's very simple. Nobody wants perfection. Nobody wants judgment. We want to see we're human. And if you do not show your evolution, you become a likable expert. But I don't feel safe showing you my true problem, challenge, soul, and issue. And honestly, if we're not doing that, what are we doing?
So I love this. And I'm going to tell Ever, my amazing assistant, make sure and cut this out, what Christine said. And that is bump into the problem and disrupt the pattern. That statement right there, man, I'm writing that down. Bump into the problem and disrupt the pattern. The bump and disrupt, it sounds like a negative thing, but it is such a positive thing because when, like you said, life is the best teacher. And when we go through things, we learn through the process. And when you find these patterns and you bump into these problems and you disrupt that pattern by realizing that's not the only option, we could just, oh my goodness, we could do a whole show on just that. That is just an amazing thing because people look at that alone as such a negative. Bumped into a problem. Whoop. There we go.
And I said, you're not taking the bro marketing that's been around for 100 years from the admin world, where it's let me judge you, shame you, and criticize you because I'm telling you what your problem is. We got to stop doing that. Okay, marketing, I feel like in my soapbox moment, marketers, please stop doing that because it creates zero movement. Because if I either don't recognize myself, in which case I'm entertained by you, but we're not getting any business, so that's ineffective. Or I'm so judged and shamed by you, I do not want to get my money and my credit card out to pay you. And that doesn't help you create business either. So I think it's so ineffective and it's gone on far too long. But if you recognize my goal is to bump into the problem, and this is where the buyer piece comes into what I do. You've got to decide where's the intersection point that you want to bump into. And your job is to bump into it with zero judgment and a calm energy that said, I just see you. And eventually you can sit in that space where you've chosen the intersection point and say, I'm sitting with you until somebody says, I've slowed my spin enough to go, I recognize I'm not by myself. What's happening here? And that leads to what? The number one human trait? Curiosity. And our goal is to craft curiosity. Like as a business owner, our job is not to do anything but bump into the problem, decide the intersection point, and say, where do we want to move people? And as we're moving them, we do need to see our value. We need to be able to communicate. This is why I'm the right hire to get you this result. Because remember, when people want your services, it doesn't matter what service you offer. What they want is the result repeatedly. Where is their problem in their spin? I have a pattern I can't change. And I don't even know what to look for, how to do it. And so they start asking that how question. You say, you don't need to know the how, you need to know it's possible.
Exactly.
And then they start to go, tell me more.
That is, you need to know it's possible. That's another complete mic drop right there. It's possible for you to make that change because we get stuck in bad habits. Mm-hmm. So disrupting the pattern is disrupting that bad habit. And I love the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits. Yes. I know you've read it. And so many people out there, if you have not read this book, it is a must read. It is a must read. I'm telling you, because you go from these patterns and these things that are disruptive and bad on your life and your business to creating things that are promoting what you really want to promote. And we all talk about things. I think a lot of times, we talk about businesses or government or things that are always doing things that disincent us to do what they really need to have happen, right? So if you have a business that's being really negative and oppressive and giving disincentives, nobody wants to really work hard for that business. Nobody really wants to be productive and help them. But businesses, for example, that are doing great things as doing positive incentives. Hey, if you bring in these clients and you help us move this direction, you get $1,000. I'm just using that as a simple term, and people go, I'll take that $1,000. They're going to work hard to do the positive thing the company wants to get that end result, right? Creating habits and patterns and incentives to do good things. You got to do that in your own life. You got to create good patterns. I learned a really good thing out of the book. This was I got to be honest with you, this is one of the things that I had to pat myself on the back because he was talking about exercise, which is so hard for people. And
Mhm.
this can still relate to business and all that, but it's just a habit. So the habit of exercise is hard. He says, what you need to do is you need to set out your sneakers, set out your jogging clothes, get everything ready to go. And you're patterning your brain. This is what I'm going to do. You're already setting it up. You're already moving in motion to create this good habit. Well, I was already doing that. And I wasn't doing it because I was so smart. I was just doing it because it reminded me I was going to go out and do what I was going to do. And that's what it's all about. In your business, same way, creating good patterns. And those disrupt the patterns there. You bump into that problem, it disrupts that pattern, and you create a new habit that moves that out of the way. And I think that's what it,
100%. That's
yeah,
actually the origin of how I kept being invited to mentor other people, because I was really good with the habit stack. I didn't do it because I read the book. I had already had the same thing. I'd had these principles passed down from mentors, people, family, just was blessed to have them. And I said, I know how to build a business 1 hour a day. I know what to focus on. I know what moves the needle. And that's the piece that I find and I realized most of business owners don't have. And how do I know they don't have it? Because I watch them do the hokey pokey. You know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, constant stop start momentum. And so, what if you just actually recognize you start with foundations, you get clear, you choose your speed, you stop doing what's not working, and you focus on what is? That actually will build you a 7-figure business. And
right.
that is the framework of which I take people through, because I said, I simply recognized that I knew what habits created client growth. And when you really simplify, you only have one next step.
Back to the one thing, and
Back
it's
to the
right
one
behind
thing.
you. Business growth is elegantly simple. Another mic drop, and you didn't have to say it. It's right behind you.
I
Um,
say this so often. My mentor a couple of years ago sent this to me. She said, "You say it so often, it needs to be in your workspace."
that is so great. That's so great. I've got things all around me. I was just recently given this. This I think is a great principle of life, and I was given it to it by a friend who is a doctor in Manchester, England, who I actually produced her live stream, and she went and was the keynote speaker with another group of friends over in New York, and then flew out to see me. And they had these, and she brought this to me. I think all these principles, what you have and this kind of stuff, you just need to have little reminders around. I have a sign that says how blessed I am. Be kind. One positive thought can change your entire day. Just things, little reminders, when you're getting frustrated and down, those things remind you of that. And I think
I'm a
that
big
is,
fan of that.
yeah,
I have Post-it notes. I tell my clients all the time when we're working through something, put the Post-it note to remind you. And sometimes the Post-it notes are things like breathe, pause,
yeah,
listen.
yeah,
And other times I have a Post-it notes, one of the most influential ones, and I'd had it from a very good friend who had said it to me many years ago. And I was first invited to be a paid mentor, and I was uncertain if I wanted to go down that path. And he said, remember, when people want to pay you, for example, $10,000, you're solving a $100,000 problem. It's 10x. That's what the expectation of ROI is in the
right,
marketplace right now. Christine, I know you can solve that. So I think you're needed in this space. But he said,
yeah,
remember this, you're not looking for buyers. Like, I talk a lot about the buyers, but I'm looking for problems to solve, ways I support, and ways I can contribute. And when I do that, the business always takes care of itself. And so when I'm out there, I'm not putting my ego into the equation. I'm saying, how do I serve you? In this case, we're serving through conversation. Sometimes it's, let me introduce you to someone in my network. Let me, be this. And when I was very young, I moved around a lot. I'm a Canadian who's lived in 5 countries and 30 cities, some of them more than once. I was very clear. My goal for life was to build my own version of the United Nations, where I had friends all over the world. I could call for a great recommendation for a bookshop, a coffee shop, a pharmacy. How do I go buy something if I needed it? And that is the legacy I've cultivated and I'm intentional about creating, which is community driven. Because truthfully, I'm looking for ways I can contribute, people I can support, and know that my time here mattered.
yeah. Well, and that is so amazing. Another mic drop. But speaking of time, I've been horrible with the time today because this topic is captivating me so much that we're like 15 minutes over my time, but it's okay because you know what? This has been a great discussion. And you know what? We're going to bring Christine on again to
How
talk
exciting.
more about this because I think this is amazing. And, I want to build my own version of the United Nations too. My wire purpose is to inspire and encourage people to live a purpose-driven life. I want people to be world changers and difference makers, and I want to do that for them. And I want to bring people into my community that can do those things for me as well. So it's a give and take and everybody helping each other. I will give one last example, because what you just said and that whole United Nations thing and coffee shops and people that can recommend things to you. I was asked to host a networking meeting 2 weeks ago, and I had 2 days before the networking meeting, and was not prepared with anything. Now, as far as me speaking, piece of cake. I know what I'm going to say. That's easy, right? And it's, you're only speaking for like 20 minutes, so that's not the end of the world. But I had to put all the stuff together. I needed a venue. Because I had to pick the venue, I had to have the food, we give away, nice door prizes and all this kind of stuff. I had to have all this stuff together. I made 4 calls and had everything I needed in 5 minutes, and with amazing friends that most of them just worked with me, and just because they were my friend did it for me. I didn't even have to, say, how much is this? Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just going to take care of it for you. I mean, it's that kind of community coming together. This is how amazing things happen.
Yes.
And happen without a lot of effort at the moment, because you put in all the effort and the work up front. You've done all the work along the way, and you're continuing to do it. You're continuing to add value and build people. And okay, I got to stop because it's so amazing.
But, just one kind of thought. Relationships.
I've given you last. No, go ahead. I'm giving you last words. So say whatever you'd like. Wrap it up with your gold nugget, and then tell everybody how to get in touch with you. Go ahead.
I would love to. I would just want to remind people relationships matter, and it's not a horse trade. I think collaboration, especially, I would say wider, but especially in the business world, has started to get very, very misinterpreted. Collaboration is not horse trading. You cannot go into something thinking reciprocity is a guarantee. You do it because you're a good human being. Please show up as a good human being. It is the number one thing that will help your business propel. It will honestly be the thing that helps you fulfill your purpose. And it will honestly bring the joy back into your business. Your business should be fun. You are here for a purpose. This is intentional choices supported in faith. So if you'd love to connect, come find me, ChristineCampbellRapin.com. I'd love to have you in my community and know how you're making a difference here on this earth.
And I'm not going to share any details, but Christine and I and some other good friends have an amazing thing that we're going to do together and collaborate together coming up in the next couple of months when we get it all figured out and put together. So I'm super excited about that. And thanks, Christine, for, well, number one, I just feel like you and I have been like amazing friends for years. That's the first thing. And second of all, just what a blessing to spend your time. And, really everybody, time is so valuable, our most valuable asset. And so it means so much to me when someone is willing to take the time and spend the time, not just for their own benefit, but also for my benefit. It means a lot. And I appreciate that. So thanks so much for being here today. And I'm going to send you to the green room, but don't go anywhere. I'll be right there because we're going to schedule part 2 here.
Love it.
Okay. See ya. Woo. Oh my goodness. I can't believe how long I let this run over today. It's all good though. Amazing. Well worth it. Adding the value. Just wanted to remind there's a ton of people watching today, and I am not getting all the comments here on the StreamYard broadcast for some reason. Not sure why, but do me a favor. Well, everybody, please just say hi in the comments. Whatever platform you're watching on, just say hi to us. Let us know that you were here. That would mean so much to me. And just make sure that you share this out and tell your friends that Marketing with Russ is every Monday and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it is a great, amazing place to meet amazing people. We're all about how amazing people connect, like I said, and you can connect with me at russhedge.com. Please do it today. I talked about subscribing on YouTube where you get easy access to all this, and it's simple. Just go to marketingwithruss.live. If you know my name and you know the name of this show, piece of cake. You got it all figured out. Just like Christine said, I keep it real simple. I'm a very simple-minded guy. And you know what? Sometimes we just need to be more simple. And thanks for sharing it out. If you're watching on replay, please put #TeamReplay. And please still share this with your friends. There are so many people that need what Christine has. And I want to start by first really encouraging you to connect with Christine. I mean, do it. I love to support people that are doing amazing things. And so I want to encourage you, and I'm going to put her connection information up one more time. It's in the comments, it's in the show notes. Please, please, please connect with her, build community with her. And if I can help you in any way, even just for a great conversation, or just to encourage and inspire you, doesn't cost anything for that. Just connect with me today. And you go to russhedge.com. In fact, I'll take it a step further. Go to russhedge.com/contact. Yep, pretty simple. It'll take you straight to my calendar, and you can just schedule time right now. russhedge.com/contact. But all the information about me is at russhedge.com, and you get there through that website. So I keep it simple. It's my one-stop shop for you. And so that's great. There's even a free download for you on there that you can download on how to transform your business in 3 simple steps, all about connection and community building. It'll help you get my encouraging morning emails as well. And one last point, don't forget that you can subscribe to my newsletter on LinkedIn, and you can buy any of my books, and you can do it all through russhedge.com today. So I just wanted to make sure and let you know about all of that, because it is all there. So with that, we're going to run out of here. Don't forget the marketing tip of the day will show back up all by itself. If you're interested in seeing that again, it's also will be available on my YouTube page, and that'll be cut out and be separate, all about seeking collaboration. You want to do that today. So until we see you again, which will be next Monday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, have a great day and a great life. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.